Of Kingsley Moghalu is joining us live from our Abuja studio. Thank you for joining us. Now, you spoke about a pragmatic leadership that will engender.
Well, I'm talking about a leadership that has a vision where the president shares that vision with the National Assembly and builds a very productive working relationship based on mutual respect. That's the kind of leadership I'm talking about. A leadership that is able to establish, one, the national interest, two, the mutual self-interest of both the executive and the national legislature in working together.
Now, okay, you believe that, like you have rightly mentioned, that the relationship between the National Assembly and the executive is kind of frosty. For you, how are you going to ensure that you have a smooth working relationship with both offices to ensure that what you intend to achieve is achieved successfully?
Well, I think this is a matter of dialogue. I think there needs to be a rubbing of minds between the executive and the National Assembly. The president of the Senate need to sit down occasionally and talk about how to get things done, things that need the passage of laws. And the executive may sometimes have some executive bills to present. They need to explain the rationale behind those bills and get the National Assembly to play their role. Obviously, the relationship is quite frosty at this point, and it has negatively affected the governance of Nigeria. And I believe that this is because the relationship has not been properly managed.
All right, let's get a feel of your view concerning the just concluded governorship elections in Ekiti. How would you evaluate INEC's performance with this election? Because some have seen it as a mirror towards the 2019 elections.
Well, there are people who have some comments. I've listened to some independent electoral observers that observed the polls, and there are both kudos and some criticisms. Now, there are a number of issues that have arisen, but they may not necessarily, other than the allegations of rewriting results, which would have to be proved in a court of law for us to accept it. Other than that, there were some things that were seriously wrong with the electoral process, but may not necessarily be within the direct responsibility of INEC. Of course, I congratulate my good friend, Kayode Fayemi, for his victory as announced by INEC. But allegations of both vote buying by both parties, and what was very clear, that there was heavy-handed use of the police and over-militarization of Ekiti State by the federal government, leaves a lot to be desired. Many people are wondering, is this how 2019 will be? But it will be difficult, because I can tell you that the government has only 300,000 policemen, and we have 36 states in Nigeria. So they will not be able to pour 30,000 policemen into one state, as happened in Ekiti State, which is just a shocking embarrassment.
Perhaps there might be some areas you want INEC to improve upon ahead of the 2019 elections. So you'd like to let us know?
Yes, indeed. We want and insist on the credibility of registered voters and the transparency of everybody who has a voter's card in Nigeria. There have been allegations in the past about underage children. We have not seen a resolution of any investigation into those allegations. There are currently allegations that there are foreigners in this country from certain neighboring countries who are being registered to vote as Nigerians. This gives cause for concern, and it needs to be investigated. We do not want any structural rigging of the election. So this is one area that I worry about, the transparency of what happens between the collation of the results and the transmission to INEC headquarters and the announcement needs to be 100%.
All right, during the elections in Ekiti, there was no representation from your party, that's the YPP, and a lot of questions have arisen as regards to that. Perhaps you might want to clear the air on that.
Yes, well, you know that the Young Progressive Party is one of the new parties that was registered in June 2017. Now, there are candidates that have indicated their interest for elections in various states in Nigeria, and also, of course, elections for federal positions like the office of the president, such as myself. So I think we should not be judged by whether we are present in every election that is taking place in 2018. We should be judged by our presence in elections that are taking place in 2019.
Could serve as a test for what would happen in 2019 for your party, because people would want to associate with your party and see how they perform, don't you think?
No, not necessarily, because you know there are parties that have only recently been registered, and they need time to organize themselves. The party is present now in over 32 states of the Federation with structures in those states, and we're building and strengthening those structures in preparation for the elections of 2019. So I can assure you that there will be a robust presence of the YPP on the ballot box, up and down the ballot in 2019.
All right, your party was part of the recent coalition of about 39 parties. Why did you decide to...
No, it was not.
Okay, because there were reports regarding that saying that your party was part of the coalition.
No, let me be very clear. I'm an aspirant and I'm not speaking on behalf of the party, but as far as I know, the Young Progressive Party, the YPP, is not, capital N-O-T, part of any coalition at this time. Now, I saw in the press that there was YDP, which is different from the YPP. This might have confused some people.
All right, thank you for clearing the air on that. Presidential aspirant of the Young Progressive Party, Professor Kingsley Moghalu, thanks for your time on the news.
Thank you very much.